A legendary assassin from a famous guild refuses a contract to kill humans, but a stranger persists in hiring him. As the story slowly uncovers the shocking truth behind why humans can't be killed, a terrifying secret about them begins to unfold. Will this assassin change his mind? Find out why? Before continuing the story, tell me which city you're watching from. I want to know how far this video has come. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so I can send you exciting stories like this every day. His eyes betrayed disbelief, his mouth stammering, unable to comprehend what he had just heard. What? The target is a human? He muttered as if the words made no sense. No, I heard you right. But what? There's no way anyone in the galaxy could be that monumentally stupid. I was led to believe that the Crimson Claw assassins could kill anything. The older assassin, his mandibles clicking angrily, replied with a growl. Keep that name out of your mouth, whelp. We abandoned that name after the bad deal with the Vortan Empire years ago. I don't care about any empire. The newcomer clenched his fists, his face set in determination. I want you to kill a human. The assassin's mandibles clicked again, this time in frustration. We don't take contracts to kill humans. I'll find someone else then, came the defiant reply. You can try, the assassin sneered. No other guild in the galaxy will take that job. And even if you find someone with a death wish, they won't finish the job, not without dying or ratting you out. You can't seriously believe humans are unkillable. I never said they were unkillable, the assassin said, his tone somber. Quite the contrary. I know firsthand that they are definitely mortal, but we don't take contracts to kill them. Why not? The other pressed. Because the only way to kill a human and live long enough to spend the money is to drop a neutron bomb on them from orbit, just to be sure. Then you have to grab the fastest ship you can find and flee before the rest of humanity finds out what you've done. After that, I suggest you find a way to another galaxy and stay there for the rest of your miserable life. Are you joking? The newcomer was incredulous. Does your planet have compulsory education? What does that have to do with anything? Compulsory education, the assassin answered. 10 years of basically teaching the young how to obey, like a Tarkon drone. Sounds like government-run public education, the newcomer mocked. Did they teach history? Some, the assassin snorted. But they didn't teach galactic history, that's for sure. Sit down, buy a round, and I'll tell you why no assassin worth their blade would ever take a contract to kill a human, the assassin said, ordering drinks and turning to his new companion. Remember when I mentioned the Vortan Empire? Well, do you know what happened to them? The Vortan Empire once ruled over half the galaxy, hundreds of species and civilizations crushed under their iron fist. Serve or die, that was the Vortan way. The council and territories outside of Vortan control back then could do nothing to stop the ever-churning war machine that drove Vortan expansion. They could posture, debate, and beg, but nothing they did could slow the inevitable march of the Delphin. System by system, the galaxy fell under the Emperor's rule. Then one day, they happened upon a system called Argo by its inhabitants. The name wasn't used for any other system, so the Vortan allowed the humans to keep it. Humans lived on the third planet in that system, poor souls. They had just begun exploring their own solar system when the Vortan came knocking. The humans had divided themselves into various socio-economic groups they called countries. This division made it easier for the Delphin to conquer, as the fragmented nations were slow to respond. The legions swept across the land without the next target realizing their doom was approaching, thanks to communication jammers. But despite all the disadvantages, the humans fought fiercely. It took one galactic standard month for the Vortan to claim dominion over the planet. Most pre-FTL worlds fell within a week, but these humans fought like demons, especially when the remaining countries realized they were being invaded. They even managed to halt the Delphin ground troops once before reinforcements were deployed, and the last bastion of resistance fell. From there, it became the usual bureaucratic tedium, splitting the new slaves into work groups and assigning them menial jobs to benefit their new masters. Many of the surviving humans were farmers and ranchers, so the Delphin allowed them to do what they were good at. An army marches on its stomach, as the humans say, and the Delphin war machine was always hungry. A few 100,000 humans were taken off-world to work in the mines. These humans were unnaturally strong and durable due to their planet's high gravity. They excelled at the dangerous task of mining. The worlds and species conquered by the Delphin usually followed a script. First, there were a few years of severe discipline with liberal use of the whip until the slaves learned the new order of things. Then came a few years of relative peace, followed by rebellions 5 to 10 years after the conquest. Once those uprisings were quashed, the remaining survivors had no strength left to try again. They would give up hope. These humans, however, didn't follow the script. They reluctantly fell in line a few months after the invasion. And when the expected uprisings never came, the Delphin must have felt proud of themselves for breaking the will of these primates. If I had to give one compliment to the humans, it would be this: they are natural hunters. They know how to wait for the perfect moment to strike. For 20 Earth years, the humans lived, worked, and bred like cling rats. Delphin didn't care how many more humans were born. More meat for the grinder, they would say. They even offered incentives, extra rations and special privileges for any human female who produced more than 4 offspring. If only the Delphin knew. The humans weren't breeding more workers. They were building an army. The human administrators and leaders who surrendered to the Delphin were mostly fake. They were puppets, giving the illusion of surrender while the true governments hid underground, literally in some cases, and continued to organize the resistance. Hidden training camps, nighttime schools, and secretly printed pamphlets on how to one day overthrow their oppressors. The Delphin never saw it coming. For years, while the empire gloated, the humans prepared. And when the time came, they made their move. At first, it was small. Rebellions always are. A rogue miner refusing to work here. A rancher reporting that his entire herd had been wiped out by some imaginary disease there. Then larger disturbances started to happen. A factory explosion here, sabotage in production lines there. The human country of France, with its long history of resisting tyrants, rioted in the streets shouting, "Vive la Révolution!" Don't ask me what that means. I never bothered learning human languages. A crate of plasma rifles went missing. Then a grav tank wouldn't start. When they popped the hood, they found it completely gutted of its power and anti-grav components. The Delphin leaders thought these were just trivial issues that needed to be addressed. But they were wrong. They called the Crimson Claw assassins and other guilds like ours to deal with the rabble. The contract was costly for the Empire. The human planet, dirt as they call it, has gravity 3 times the galactic average. Every agent we sent had to be fitted with a grav assist suit and spend a week getting used to the gravity. At first, our agents thought the human rebels were ghosts. They could see the after effects of sabotage, but never found any clear evidence of who was behind it. They would patrol the streets, and suddenly the streets would clear. Before they could figure out where all the humans had gone, an explosion would rock the street, sometimes killing the agent. One of our agents, angry over the death of a comrade, went to a random town and began executing humans who couldn't answer questions about the rebels. Unsurprisingly, a mob turned on him after the 3rd execution, ripping him to pieces. I can't even blame the Delphin for not paying the death fee for that one. Our contract was to stop the riots, not start them. The contract was quickly going south. Sure, we were killing humans with the surgical precision we were known for, but what good is money if you can't make it off-world to spend it? Soon we couldn't even walk on the surface without heavy Delphin escorts. The humans struck without warning, then faded into the background. On the African continent, one of our agents was lured out into the savannah while chasing a human rebel, only to be attacked by a pack of predators. These humans had even enlisted the help of lesser beasts to fight back. The number of agents we lost to their canine companions is incalculable, and the less said about the death traps the humans call Australia, the better. Regional administration centers began to fall silent one by one. By the time the Delphin nobles realized what was happening, the entire planet had fallen quiet. Not just dirt, but every place where humans had been forced to work had shown similar signs of resistance. The only explanation is that they were instilling rebellious ideas in the other enslaved species under Delphin control. The gods only know how they managed to communicate across the void of space. Yes, the Delphin did have patrol vessels roaming the region to suppress this kind of thing, but those two fell silent. The humans had infiltrated them, destroyed or captured the ships, and sent them back to their scientists for examination. With no Delphin oversight, the humans uncovered the secret factories and military forces they'd been building for years. Huge manufactories churned out components for space docks, and eventually starships that were launched into orbit by newly discovered launch facilities. By the time the Delphin response vessels made it to human space, they were no match for the fleet the humans had secretly built with stolen Delphin technology. It's no exaggeration to say that the Delphin were victims of their own hubris. Every time they lost a response vessel, they would send another. But they never realized that the rot eating away at their empire was coming from within. When the Delphin finally got tired of the cost of sending response fleets into the region and pulled a conquest fleet from the front, the human world and the next 3 conquered systems had fallen silent. When the conquest fleet arrived at Argo, they found a fleet not just of humans, but of all the enslaved species in the region. After that victory, the Delphin Emperor must have gotten nervous. All his fleets were halfway across the galaxy, and the humans were now in between him and his armies. An emergency recall went out for all fleets to return immediately to the Imperial capital, and the Crimson Claw and other guilds were called to assist. By that time, we had lost almost 2/3 of our guilds, so we refused. That decision ultimately saved us. The humans had been hunting spies and saboteurs within their ranks for decades, and by now, they were too skilled to fail. 7 other assassin guilds were completely wiped out. We knew it was a fool's errand, no matter how much the Empire offered. While the Delphin fleet gathered in their home system, they began to make plans to scour the Empire of rebels. But this was the final nail in the coffin. While the Delphin consolidated their forces, the humans spread quickly through the now empty void and reached every enslaved species in the Empire. They overthrew the Delphin administrators controlling them and recruited them into the cause. Wherever the humans went, they sparked rebellion, and the galaxy burned. The weak council in the UN-conquered part of the galaxy eagerly joined the humans' fight. Everywhere across the Empire, the oppressed and enslaved were rising up, throwing off their chains. Metalics still churned out ships. Farmars still raised crops and livestock. But now they did it for the new Galactic Alliance, not for Delphin. Cut off from their supply lines, internal strife began to tear the Delphin forces apart. Conquest fleets sent from the capital never made it more than a dozen systems before being ambushed by the human alliance. Like on their homeworld, humans would strike like lightning and disappear into the dark. Despite their efforts, the Delphin were never able to pin down the humans in a fair fight. It went on for months as the Delphin legions were slowly bled dry by ambushes, false distress signals, and EMP mines hidden in wreckage. Eventually, when the Allied fleets breached Delphin Prime, they found a shattered, starving fleet tearing itself apart. When the human admiral hailed them, the Delphin captains saw the size of the armada before them and surrendered immediately. After 3 years of fighting, with the rebellion finally over, the humans unleashed their deadliest weapon, lawyers. They dragged the Delphin Emperor out of his throne, and all the Delphin nobles and administrators who had ever oppressed a sentient being were rounded up. Then they put them through the human legal system, which was far more civilized than the Delphin court, where the accused would stand before the Emperor or his representative, have the charges read, and be shot immediately with no defense. By the time the trials were over, the Emperor had died of old age, and his successor was forced to right the wrongs done to the galaxy. The Delphin Empire crumbled, and only a few systems in the far southern reaches of the galaxy remained under their control. Some feared the humans would turn and conquer the galaxy for themselves. But within a year of the Delphin surrender, they had dismantled over half of their fleet and scattered the rest across the galaxy, hunting pirates and maintaining peace. Our guild was lucky that the humans understood we had broken our contract. They allowed us to live with the promise that Crimson Claw would be permanently disbanded. They whittled us down to 1/3 of our number before the rebellion even left their home planet. We were once the top assassin guild in the galaxy, but now we are just a loose group of independent agents with no name. You see, young one, we don't kill humans. If you kill a human, their family will hunt you down. If you kill their family, the entire species will come for you. And you better hope they kill you, because if their lawyers get their hands on you, you'll be lucky if your own people don't have to kill you to apologize. I had no idea. That is painfully obvious. I'm not one to pry, but what did this human do to offend you? They insulted my broodmate, the assassin laughed. Is that all? Then insult them back, you idiot. If it really bothered you, punch them in the face. But you said we don't kill humans. Those crazy apes love to fight with words as well as fists. You'll have a better chance of surviving that way. You probably wouldn't be able to hurt them physically, but if you take the time to explain to them that you were offended, they may even apologize. They would do that? They are monsters on the battlefield and demons when wronged, but they aren't uncivilized. If they were, they wouldn't have rebuilt the council to what it is today. They hold the chair, and they likely will for generations. They're not uncivilized? No, they are not. The assassin drained his glass, staring at the empty vessel. Now then, my cup is empty. Unless you want to refill it, I think we're done here. The story of the unkillable humans and their terrifying secrets is far from over. If you found this intriguing and want to discover more mysterious tales, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any exciting videos. Join us and dive into these unexpected adventures.